Greetings, this is Morning Call for Monday, the 25th of February 2019. I hope you're doing well. My name is Lieutenant Commander Fab and I'm beaming this to you right from the USS Hamburg, your tech news of the day. This only makes sense if you're watching the video. So if you're listening to a podcast, you need to watch the video for this one. Yeah, new week, lots of tech news. Oh, my iPad is making sound here. That's not good. Lots of tech news, mostly because the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona is, of course, happening right now. Pretty much all the tech journalists are there. I'm not, because I have to do this. Also, I don't really like mobile phones that much. Anyway, hope you're doing good. And I'll get you some info from MWC. You won't get that much here because, yeah, I'm not interested in just like the next mobile phone with more RAM or whatever. I mean, there's some interesting stuff that I'll bring you, but like if you want the phone news, you better go out there and have a look yourself, which should be easy because it's pretty much all the tech websites are full of that stuff at the moment. Pretty much any tech news site you go to, the front page is just mobile phones. But I'm going to start with some MWC news. Huawei has also presented a smartphone with a foldable screen, kind of like Samsung's. I personally thought Samsung's looked a bit slicker. This is the Mate X or Mate 10 or whatever they're calling it. It's got a completely foldable screen though. It's like you actually do. It's a bit more of a foldable screen than the Samsung one, it seems to me. And you fold it over and then just with that one. It's one big screen, and you fold it over and it becomes basically two screens. Come on, show it folding, right? And then it turns off the part of the screen in the fold that just turns black. And then you have a phone with screens at both sides. It also, because we have to have all the buzzwords, it also has 5G. I still haven't found anybody who could tell me where you would use that, but it must have that, especially if it's gonna cost 2,300 euros. Should be available in the middle of the year, Huawei says. 2,300 euros. Hello, good morning, Khalifa, with the question that everybody will ask about this, but why? I guess because they can, and they need something new. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It's got to be something new. They got to be able to say, we're innovating by this device, because wouldn't you want a foldable screen? I don't know. It wasn't in Star Trek TNG, so I'm not interested. They didn't have foldable screens on the Enterprise, so why would I need that? Anyway, yes. So So the biggest news, I guess, from the Mobile World Congress, well, the biggest interesting news, even though it doesn't have any practical applications for all of us, I think, anyway. Good morning, Jaslyn. Hello. Thank you for watching. Nice to have you along. Microsoft has announced the HoloLens 2, which has a bigger field of view and it's supposed to be lighter, and it's a bit smaller. You still look like a dog, although, they're modeling it here with some cool guy with an undercut, so it doesn't look that bad, to be honest. It looks okay. Microsoft is not pitching this at consumers though, not like the HoloLens 1, where they kind of all this render bullshit, where they basically showed Minecraft and on the kitchen table, and that never did anything. Look at those stylish haircuts. If you're watching the video, you can see Microsoft is really dialing it up. Even though, they are pitching this for professionals. You can see somebody working on a motorbike there, and I guess it'll show you like where the important parts are, or like doctors can like look into somebody. Yeah, they're not wearing, by the way, Microsoft. They're like, oh, I guess this is not an operating. I guess they're training because they're not wearing gloves. I was gonna say you missed something there, or you could just design your stage. These things are already used in industry. Like people are architects and people who design cars. They still use this. Apparently, I had quite a while ago. That must have been 2 years ago. I had a press meeting with Microsoft, and they were talking about how this is now used by the guys at ThyssenKrupp, who built the elevators, ThyssenKrupp Fahrstühle. They are using that to fix elevators. Yeah, so at least Microsoft has seen that there isn't really a consumer market for VR or AR, at least not at the moment. So they're going, well, we're pushing this for business, which I guess seems to make sense. In other Microsoft news, we have Reuters reporting that their Microsoft employees, they actually had some like a Twitter. They announced this on Twitter. They're demanding that Microsoft stop working for the U.S. Army. This is based on a $480 million hardware contract that Microsoft has recently closed with the U.S. Army. There are now 94 workers signed a petition saying we didn't sign up to Microsoft to work on weapons. I find this a bit weird. So the Army is buying, they're saying augmented reality, like prototype augmented reality headsets. This must be based on the HoloLens, which display contextual information in front of a user's eyes. So I guess this is the cyber warrior thing. Where you're there, cyber warfare. Yeah, what I find interesting about this is that basically these employees are saying stop that contract when Microsoft is making the whole US military runs Windows. They run Windows on the warships, in the drone control centers. They run it everywhere, in the submarines. We know this. There have been stories about Windows updates basically bricking important systems in submarines and stuff like that. So, hello, Mike. How are you doing? Yeah, so I don't know. Microsoft has always, I guess, made money off the military. They always had contracts with the U.S. military. So I don't know. This is now something new. But apparently they want them to stop that, and they have signed a petition which will change everything and make everything better. From Microsoft to Apple, the highest court in Berlin, and we're not talking about the city here, we're talking about the federal state. Berlin also, like Hamburg being a federal state, their highest court has decided that Apple's data, their privacy rules are not legal. So we're talking about the App Store and like data that if you buy an app on Apple's App Store, how they use that data and the legal text they have for that. And this was a court case that dates back to before the GDPR. And so courts have said, well, even before that, what people actually don't know is like the German data protection law that was in place before the GDPR was very strict. In some cases, it was stricter than the GDPR. And so it even didn't conform with that. Now they've also looked at the GDPR, and it doesn't still conform to that. And then Apple apparently said, well, but like this is a law, this is text from before that. And the court said, well, it has to conform now. It doesn't matter if the case was brought earlier. It doesn't matter if the text is earlier, and you still have it in your app store. You still have parts of these clauses that do not confirm in there. So this is the highest court in this case, so the ruling can't be overturned easily. It is now in effect, although they have kind of paused that because there's some kind of appeal. Like it's not really like Apple is like protesting it. I don't even know what that means. But I guess this stuff will be going on. It's mostly about like Apple collecting data on your app usage and then selling that to third parties, and they're basically giving themselves the right to do that. I found the story very interesting, as my colleague on Heise points out in the first sentence. Apple is a company that will paint themselves in PR as very privacy friendly. That has been their way to differentiate themselves in their advertisement and just their public message from Microsoft and especially Google and Android, saying we don't make money with data, we make money with hardware. I always called them out on that. I always said that is bullshit. And I mean, currently it's good for you to paint yourself that way, but if it's better to make money for you by data, then you will do that, and you will just change your rules. And as you can see by that, they already have rules in place. They're already collecting a lot of data. And even when a court says that is not legal in Germany, they're still fighting that. They're not saying, no, we changed the rules. No, we're fighting this tooth and nail. So Apple's whole privacy stance seems in some cases a bit of bullshit. Speaking of Apple, or rather Adobe pushing a emergency bug fix in Premiere Pro, their video editing software, because due to a bug, this video editing suite could produce sounds, high-pitched sounds that if they were played by a speaker in a Mac, that could irreparably damage the speaker. And there are people reporting in Apple's forums that this has happened to them. So the app has just created some sound. They had their speakers on, and now their speakers are broken, which is interesting. Which is really interesting. And now they have an update. So they're saying that they know about the problem and they're working on a solution, and this update is now fixing it. Or they were saying they're working on a solution. I guess they have it now. And if you use Premiere Pro, you should update to version 13.03 to fix this. Apparently this is MacBook Pro speakers. I'm not quite sure why that would only happen on a Mac or only on a MacBook Pro. I mean, there must be something special on the hardware there for that to break the speakers. It's currently sounds like a hacker movie, says Olivier. Yeah, it doesn't. This is a cool story, isn't that? Like, that's something like something in software, and it like breaks the hardware. That sounds like it's from a TV plot. Currently, they're not saying if they're gonna Apple or Adobe, anybody. If basically if that happens to you, will anybody repair your MacBook? And we don't know that yet. Currently, we have no knowledge of that. I'm just straightening my uniform here. It's a Picard maneuver. So we don't know that. So it'll be interesting. Maybe if I can see another story on that, I'll update you on that, as I have an update to an earlier story in a little bit. We have other news from Twitter. Evan Williams, one of the founders of the company, is leaving. He's saying he still likes the guys and wants to come over for lunch if somebody opens the door for him. He said on Twitter. And he thanked the almost 4,000 Twitter employees. At this point, 4,000, that's quite a big company. Yeah, interesting. I mean, I don't know, doesn't look like he's leaving because there are trouble. I mean, Twitter for a long time in dire straits didn't make any money, which they've turned around, it seems now. Yeah, I mean, Williams, I guess, is doing great. Like before it was a Twitter, he helped with developing Blogger.com that turned into Google. Google bought that, yeah, it's it's the Google Blogs now. What is it called now? What is Blogger called? Is it? I mean, the domain is still Blogger, right? Are they still calling it Blogger? I guess they are. Blogspot. Yeah, it was called Blogspot because of the domain. But yeah, I guess it's just Google's default blogging now. Yeah, interesting. I don't know what it means, but I wanted to report it because it might be important in the future. Golem has a story on PDF signatures and yeah, Blogspot. Halifa, you're right. Sorry, didn't see that in time. Yeah, Crickle, good point on the MacBook thing. Actually, you can't repair anything because everything's glued inside in a MacBook. That is true. Like many modern notebook PCs, but I guess the MacBooks are especially bad in this regard. PDF signatures. We're not talking about the I'm signing like with a stylus on the PDF. We're talking about digital signatures. And I didn't know this. I had no idea. Apparently, PDFs have digital signature built in, and apparently people are using it. It's part of the eIDAS signature program that the EU uses. In Austria, every official document from the government is signed using this. And in the US, you can actually hand in tax documents signed with this, and apparently it's completely broken. Some security researchers have basically looked at how the if you go to pdf-insecurity.org, of course they have a domain, and they present their findings, and basically the validation just doesn't work in pretty much any PDF program. You can just break it, and they're saying this doesn't surprise them because there wasn't any research. It seems like people have been using this, like government's been using this, and nobody ever looked at the security. Color me surprised. Yeah, that is not good. Somebody who runs the ops division on a starship, I can tell you that you better check your technology there before you start using it. I was mentioning the story, an update on the story. So I was talking a while ago. I reported on the story with the Lime scooters that they stopped, basically recalled. These are the rentable e-scooters in Switzerland, I think. And I think also in Austria they're being used, and this was because they had like a software bug where it would just break randomly and throw people off. And these things sometimes go like 20 kilometers per hour, and then somebody broke his arm. It's not really good. Lime is saying they fixed it now. Fixed it. It's all good. Firmware update. Never happens again. I guess in Switzerland you may be able to use them again. Oh, also they're saying in New Zealand, in Auckland, happened, and the city then suspended those scooters. Yeah, this we are. I mean, a few years ago, us techies, we would make jokes about, the Internet of Shit. and like you'd have to firmware update your sneakers. We had that story last week, and firmware in cars, and now it's like e-scooters, and it's now actually happening. We have we have these things, and we have bugs, and they cause people to get hurt. And this is only the scooters. I mean, it'll soon enough it'll be the cars, and then it'll be safe driving cars, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, I think at FOSDEM, there was somebody talking about, like, he gave a talk about something else, but he was talking about how it was generally about software bad code, and he said he was at one point he looked at, I think he was a consultant, and he was paid to look into the software in a braking system that pretty much, I mean, this is not electric cars, this is like just normal software that runs the braking system in modern cars, and it's horrible. It's got bugs. It's got a lot of bugs, and they're just ignoring the bugs, and they just code around it. This is all gonna go to hell. Anyway, so that's all the stories I picked out for you today. There was a lot more, but I just thought, don't want this show to be too long in the morning. So you gotta get back to work, I'm guessing. Like some of you are watching this at work, I know that. I'm not gonna tell anybody. Don't worry. But yeah. So there's just one last story, a little bit of what the fuck. This is also from Mobile World Congress. Ex-colleague of mine at Heise, Nico Juran, he's a cool guy. So he went and had a hands-on with a vibrator for men, which is, I mean, I like how they demoed it, because the lady's like, can you just put your, trying to turn this sound off here, just put your hand in it. Like she's like, can I have your hand? And then she puts the thing on his hand. That's okay. I guess on a busy showroom floor you can't really unzip, and also then they had to just disinfect it or something. This is the MysteryVibe, nice name. It's called the Tenuto, and you put it around your member, and it then stimulates your penis and your perineum with like several vibrating motors, and you have an app. You can set it on the app. I like that she's kind of Jaslyn says equality for all. Yes, vibrator for men as well. I like that she tells them, like, this doesn't collect any data. It's like you just set it here how you want to use it, and this doesn't send any data to the cloud. I guess that's what they need to do now, need to tell you, which I think is good, because we had lots of horror stories with like sex toys just sending everything to the cloud. I find this a bit, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a male thing, but having a thing like that, and then you're putting your penis in it, it would be a bit. I mean, I'm not saying it's uncomfortable to do that. I'm saying there's motors in there, and I'd be a bit scared. I guess this is just the vibrator, but as soon as they start like with the auto masturbation thing, right? I'd be scared. Like you got bad firmware like on that e-scooter, and it's just gonna mangle you. I mean, I don't know. But I found this great. I still don't know how I'm supposed to feel about these app and smart sex toys. I mean, they will connect this to the cloud. They will, and they're saying that like they're working on an update where then you can use it with your partner. Basically teledildonics. And that better be well encrypted. Otherwise, the next thing will be like sex toy hacking. I mean, that's already happening, but I mean like malicious. But that's probably also already happening. But like that'll be in the news, right? That'll be like hacker hacks 10,000 male vibrators and people scream in pain. That will happen. Mark my words. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on it for you. That sounds wrong. Anyway, I'm not going to test these things. If you want test of those, there's other Twitch channels, I guess, or other YouTube channels. I'm not doing that. I'm too scared. Anyway, have a nice Monday. Remember, it's only 5 working days, and you already got a good part of one already down. So it's all good. Yeah, Halifa points out. Good point. Same risk with female vibrators. Yeah. I mean, that's where I got my fear from. That one story where like that dildo with a Skype account and a camera was just like unprotected, and you could just drive around, find them, and then watch the live video from it. And why does it even have? Let's not even think about that. Anyway, have a nice day. I have some work ahead of me. I gotta head over to main engineering and check the pattern buffers now. That can take 2 or 3 hours. We recently lost the cat of the captain, and he's not happy. So we have to inspect the pattern buffers. You don't want to know what the cat looked like when it came out the other end. Anyway, have a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow for more tech news. Until then, stay safe, and just be careful with the male vibrators. Anyway, live long and prosper. See you tomorrow.